Hello and welcome to a awesome. See what I did there? Elimination Chamber review. Well, bro, it's gonna be a very good, interesting chat. Not only that, we are going to be looking at maybe one day of us maybe being the tribal chief and then holding the tag titles. But anyway, enough of the puns that I could think of going on. Welcome to another episode of the Elimination Chamber predictions. Review it is. We did our predictions on Twitter and Instagram as well, so go and check them out. We also talked on Instagram stories about what was going on and kept you guys updated. And we're going to be doing that a lot more because it's a bit of fun and it's good fun to do as well. It was an interesting night full of a lot of opportunities for WWE to start building their massive way to the biggest pay-per-view in the world, WrestleMania. We all had an idea of what certain things could happen. We didn't know what was going to happen. We had a lot of matches, 2 Elimination Chamber matches, 1 triple threat match, a tag team women's match, and then we had the winner would face Roman Reigns as well. Right. Let's get into Elimination Chamber. First up, we had the SmackDown Women's Elimination Chamber match. Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Uso, King Corbin, Sami Zayn, who the winner will go on to face Roman Reigns afterwards. Going into for the predictions, the score beforehand was 9-11 to Mr. Gulam, who is with me. I tell you what, it was a very good pay-per-view for me. That's all I'm going to say. We both went for Cesaro.
Mm-hmm.
What did you make of that Elimination Chamber?
I actually was happy with it. I mean, they eliminated the way I wanted it. They eliminated the way I wanted it to. I mean, I love Baron. I've always liked him. Him taking the first pin, I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, it's the right way to go because it keeps Sammy from just being the guy who's always, picked on. And so, I think Sammy got a great show throughout the whole Elimination Chamber. Same thing with Kofi. He got to do some. Same thing with AJ. Same thing with KO. But Cesaro, in my opinion, stole the whole show. In my opinion, he looked like he was legit worthy, and like he was coming this close as well to even being being the guy to win it. And obviously, he was the guy who I was picking to win it. But when I saw how it went down, I think it's the right way to keep him fresh and keep his momentum going. And keeps basically, to put it simply, obviously, I didn't want to see Cesaro get eliminated, but by the way they've done it, I think it's the right way.
See, I was thinking that, and I've got a bone to pick with what happened as well, and I'm going to moan about something, not about the match.
There we go.
But just something out of it. I thought the way that they built it from the beginning to the end was brilliant. How they did it. If you think, let's go through the eliminations. So the first person was Baron Corbin, who, how did he get eliminated again?
I don't remember. I think it was Cesaro eliminated, wasn't it? Yeah,
I think so.
I think he tapped out, I remember.
And then the second elimination was Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Sami Zayn. That was that. And then when Kevin Owens was getting Sami Zayn out, Jey Uso did, I think personally, one of the best elimination tactics I have seen with what he did to Kevin Owens, trapping that arm and then super kicking the shit out of him.
I honestly think Jey Uso deserves at least a title to hold right now, because I think he's done a tremendous job since, the whole, COVID situation, since going to a singles role himself. And, people will say, oh, main event, it's easy for him to get stuck in it. Yeah, it's easy to get stuck in main event when you've got somebody who's backing you up. Do you know what the main thing is? Is living up to it and showing why you deserve to be here. And he's shown it since he's been in the main event that he's a main event worthy player. And I think
that elimination just for me, I thought Kevin Owens could be in the final three. I definitely thought going into this match that Kevin Owens was going to be the one that eliminated Uso. I thought that was going to be his redemption type of thing, where he getting screwed over, and then he got his little redemption thing. But I will say this: I'm happy it went the other way.
I'm actually the opposite on that. I kind of had a feeling that Kay would get. A part of me was thinking Kay might get some retribution, if you will, but I didn't see. I thought it was going to be I thought it was going to be Jey Uso, getting to the final three because the way they booked him as of late, there was no way they were just going to have him get eliminated. It had to be something. It had to be a big deal basically, and I like. As I was saying a second ago, I think that Jay's a hell of a worker right now. He's a hell of a performer, and
I think it just goes to show that with him eliminating Kevin Owens and eliminating who we both picked to be the winner of the Chamber, Cesaro.
That was bittersweet. That was a bittersweet moment for me.
See, I was happy the way that Cesaro got eliminated because for me, I was because if you think about it in perspective, Cesaro's not going for the world title. Okay, we all knew that Edge was going for it. We all knew that was.
No. Let me say, I think he can still. They still might get him into the world title.
I don't think they will.
I reckon they will because the way they build him up right now, he is perfect for this. In my opinion, this is the most involved he's ever been in a world title shot in a world title picture in probably the past 10 years he's been with the company now. So I think at this point it's kind of like the Kofi situation. I'm not saying that they're going to build Mania around Cesaro because as great as I would have been, that's not going to happen. But I can see them bring him in as a challenger at some point within the next few pay-per-views that come up. Maybe I can see him maybe being the next guy to take on Roman.
I don't think he will because I tweeted this out, and this is the thing that I need a bonus point for this. By the way, I'm just saying this now because I tweeted out at the beginning of the match saying when they were targeting Daniel Bryan, they were targeting his knee. And I put it out, are they building to Bryan win this because of his knee? And they won't get Cesaro win. They won't let Cesaro win because of the feud he's starting to have with Seth Rollins. And this was at the start of the pay-per-view. And I said... Yeah?
Yeah, but what if they get the title off of... let's say that if the title goes on Bryan, then they have Bryan and Cesaro have another match again. And Cesaro, Bryan puts over Cesaro to give him the title. How would you feel then?
Wouldn't bother me.
No, that's my point. Is that I think that that could still be the case because they've seen that Bryan and
I don't think that they will. Matches. The only way
they could go that route.
The only way that title's getting dropped, and I really do think this is going to happen, is that title is going to be dropped to Edge at WrestleMania. I think he will get that title at WrestleMania. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I'm saying I don't see Edge not winning the title. That's the thing, though, because they're not going to just bring him back for, I'm saying for nothing like that, because they pretty much built up his story about getting the title. So I can definitely see Edge holding the title. How long he's going to hold it for is another argument.
I think they're going to do something really different with Edge. I feel like I'm seeing Roman going on to Raw because they need someone like him on Raw more than they need him on SmackDown. And with Edge going on SmackDown... you've got so many different possibilities of having. You can have Edge as in what he's doing right now, as he's putting everyone over and building up people, and you can also have Edge as what he was before, the ultimate opportunist.
The thing is, I don't want to see Roman on Raw, though. That's the thing, because Raw's not exactly been the greatest show. I mean, I'm not saying that. I just don't trust the booking on Raw at this point, so I'd rather keep Roman on SmackDown, where he's a nice, fresh face and just doing his own thing. And I'd rather just him stay on Raw. Stay on SmackDown at this point and keep Drew away from him. And simply put it that way, I'd rather keep the top guy on one side and the other top guy on the other side. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'd rather keep it. I don't want to move him around. I'd rather keep him there in all honesty.
So then we got Daniel Bryan winning it, which I called, which I think I should get an extra point for, by the way.
I don't remember saying that, but okay.
I tweeted it. I tweeted it just at the beginning of the chamber match.
So now we're gonna quit. Now we're gonna count late tweets. Now, okay, that's new.
Oh yeah, if it's something that's gonna be spot on, I'm happy to do that. That doesn't bother me.
All right, no, okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. No,
I called it, and I said I'm calling it now. Number of times I went back on that. But Cesaro lost, and we both didn't get a point for that. Daniel Bryan wins, and as soon as the chamber is up, Roman Reigns comes out. Personally, I think that was the best thing to do.
Look, it's a heel move, so why not?
Exactly. For someone to be a heel that wants to get heat, it's like what Edge did to John Cena in the first one, cashing it in. That's the way that I looked at it. And people saying, I saw a lot of people say, no, Roman will be doing it later on that night. I saw that. I went, that ain't gonna happen.
I thought as well, to be fair, but
no way did that come in my mind. As soon as I saw that they said that Roman, it will happen later that night, I went, no, it won't. That will happen straight afterwards.
It's hard to tell because it's the way they worded it as well, because they kind of worded it a bit funny as well, so you can't really tell if they meant after the match or at some point later on in the night. So
they kept going later on tonight. Daniel Bryan or whoever went later on tonight.
Exactly, so that's my point. So
I'm like, no, it won't be later on tonight. It will be as soon as this match is finished.
But either way, I'm happy with the way they've done it because one, it keeps Roman getting heat, and two, it showed Bryan, is the fighter that he is, and I like the way he countered that spear. His timing.
I wanted to talk about that. That was brilliant.
Mate, even I was put off guard on that one. To be honest, I did not see that. I thought it was going to just get one spear and done, but no.
The thing that got me more than was the spear, but the thing that got me a little bit more was the reaction of Roman Reigns to it. Was how he sold the hell out of it. And I was like, Daniel Bryan might actually win it here. And then he countered it and then absolutely annihilated him. But he annihilated to a point where Daniel Bryan still looks strong because he never tapped out. He passed out.
I don't think this gets said enough, but I think Roman and Daniel Bryan have got great chemistry. But no, it doesn't get said enough because even when Roman wasn't exactly the most popular guy, with the smarty mark lot, even then you could tell he could work with a guy like Bryan, and them two could, really bring the best out of each other. So I think, those two could easily be, I would love to see them in a mate. If Edge wasn't involved in this, I'd have had it as Roman versus Edge. Sorry, Roman versus Daniel Bryan. The main event of Mania. But
I think I was swinging towards that way. The way that Daniel Bryan was, we all know Daniel Bryan was going to be nearer to the end of the chamber just because of his character and the way that he is portrayed in WWE, the fighter that always goes to the end, never gives up, that type of thing. And I always thought he would get near the end, and he did it very well. Let's talk about.
Give me 1 second, Mark. It's still a phone call coming.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the ending, and we all thought, okay, good match. Good. Roman Reigns turns around and gets the spear from, as Tony Chimmel would say, the rated R Edge. I really hope he comes back at WrestleMania and does that, by the way.
Anyway, I'm surprised they haven't brought him back for that anyway.
I reckon they're building it just for that, for a live crowd, just to have him to do it on there. But yeah, they bring back Edge. Edge spears him, points to the WrestleMania sign. Fireworks go off, which is the first time I've ever seen a firework display go off when someone points at WrestleMania.
And it does feel like it's been a lifetime since we saw some pyro like that.
I do love a bit of pyro, though. And it is official. It is official now. The rated R superstar, the ultimate opportunist, versus the head of the table, the tribal chief, at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship. I'm
so glad they're going this direction as well myself, because it seems like it might be in the right way to go. It can go two ways. It can either have Roman going over Edge and basically taking out a Hall of Famer, and a veteran, etc., and getting more credit and heel heat for him, or it could be Edge or Roman, going, losing to, not even, basically losing to an established name, if he still protects him, and what I'm saying, it doesn't killing of his momentum as much.
No, and I think there's a lot of possibilities in this match as well. You got Edge, who has never lost the title that he had to give up when he retired So that's still, he's got that revenge plan. Also, if Uso gets involved, you've got Christian, who is now medically cleared and can now wrestle, who is apparently back now with WWE, has signed a
I don't
contract.
really want to see Christian getting involved.
But if Jey Uso gets involved in the match, he can come in, interfere, and help.
That's fine. Then yeah, that's fine.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Christian's getting it, but I would like to see as well in the next year or so, or however long, Edge and Christian teaming up again.
Can I say what I want to see?
Go on.
I want Jimmy Uso to come back already now.
Isn't he injured?
He's supposed to be coming back at some point because they said that his injury was supposed to be back hopefully by February or March. And I'm just like, it's pushing March now. I hope he's getting back sooner than later now because, what I mean? I feel like right about now would be the perfect time to bring in, to complete the whole bloodline thing. And then they can, really take over the whole, where they are on the SmackDown roster.
Yep, no, I completely agree. So let's move on to the triple threat match. Unfortunately, before we get into it, we both predicted Roman Reigns to win. So we both got a point. Then we went to the triple threat match where it was going to be Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley versus Riddle for the United States Championship. Unfortunately, due to injury, Keith Lee had to be pulled. I think it was 20 minutes before the pre-show. 20 minutes, half an hour before the pre-show.
I think there had been reports that he was getting pulled for a few hours before anyway, so I think it was kind of
I think there was talk that he might be, but I think they were just testing. He was there at the building, I got told.
I'll tell you right now, it makes me laugh how many people think it was a COVID-related thing because it was not COVID-related. He had been backstage at Raw, this week as well. It was just they just couldn't get him involved because there's an injury problem. So you know what I'm saying. So people need to stop making assumptions all the time.
So he was pulled due to injury. There was a fatal four-way match. And Johnny Mundo, Johnny Morrison, Johnny Impact, Johnny any name that's under the sun, lose to it. Won. And before the match, I already picked Riddle to win. I really thought that this was the time for Mr. to get his title. Gulam picked Mr. Johnny Mundo. He had Keith Lee, but he went for Johnny Mundo.
Can I say why I picked Morrison?
Go on.
Because I even tweeted as well. Morrison to me has worked his ass off since he got back, and he's pretty much carried the Miz for a whole year, and had to play the guy who was basically the fall guy most of the time. So I feel like he deserved this moment, to at least be US champ. I'm hoping he gets it at some point now, but I have no problem with Matt winning it. Matt, he's basically deserves that opportunity. The only problem with Matt is that he's got a bit of a mouth on him, and I hope he doesn't, run it too much to a point where it becomes a shitty US champion. You know what I mean?
It's going to be interesting because when I was watching this match go through it, thinking about it, Bobby Lashley is going to turn out a beast. We all know that what MVP has done for Bobby Lashley is something that Bobby Lashley has needed since he's been back into WWE. He needed to have that grit, that anger, that aggression, that no one is able to beat him at all until MVP turned up. When I watched the match, I thought, okay, they're really pushing Lashley now to be a main eventer. They're really pushing Lashley to a point where he is going to... This was before I knew the outcome of the match, the end of the match, or the end of the chamber or of the Raw side. But when I was watching it, I was like, okay, they're pushing Lashley to be a beast. How do you get Lashley? How do you stop Lashley from being that? you've got to do a cheap way of winning. And I think the way that they finished the match off, where Johnny Morrison was going to smack Bobby Lashley with the crutch, missed. And then Matt Riddle comes in, and I mean, that's the cleanest swing of a crutch I've ever seen. The way the top bit popped off as well, it went fucking flying.
Lashley's a pro for taking that as well, so you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, it took it, and not only when he hit that and got rid of him, I think the best thing Riddle done was not worry about pinning Lashley, because that also protects Lashley. Because he still hasn't been pinned for the title. He went straight for Morrison, who was getting attacked in that time by Lashley and doing it. There's going to be a lot of people out there that are not going to be happy with Riddle winning it.
I've seen it. I've seen a lot of people saying it. I mean, I can't blame them. I mean, you know, Matt didn't exactly make it easy for a lot of people to like him. I'm not bringing up the other one. I'm talking about, you know, him talking running his mouth and shit.
The issue, what people need to understand is he's one of those people that will just say how he feels, and he's just going to say it.
But that's the thing is, he basically makes it. I don't want to take the side of anyone, but he basically, in a way, that he kind of makes what, you know, guys like Dana White, guys like Goldberg and Lashley, Lesnar, and whoever else, you know, has called him out about it. And basically, he proves what they've said is right, is that he doesn't, you know, he's a pain in the ass, and he's basically making it easier for people to leave them. And
see, I don't. Like I said it before. I don't agree with it. I think that's an easy cop out, because he's very vocal in. Goldberg can't wrestle, and he points that out. Lesnar can only do certain things, and he points it out. He points things out that we all think about and all understand. We all know Dana White is a massive twat, and we all know that he is an absolute dick because of all the stuff that, not only what I think.
I don't know him that well. I know.
Well, you do, because recently he's been done for being racist to one of the ESPN reporters.
Just one second.
We're back. So for me, I feel like people really need to get all the stuff that he's done off the mat. And
it's not even just that either, though. It's other stuff as well. Because the Seth Rollins thingy, you know.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. That is literally what I'm just about to say. The situation that they do is, I don't think sometimes they understand. Well, especially with him now, the responsibility and the mindset that he needs to have now. I don't think he understands that until he got to Raw.
And I hate to quote this guy as well. I hate to quote this guy. You know, I'm going to say next, but. You know, when you got a guy like Jim Cornette making a valid point and basically calling him out for his gob, you know, that's the thing as well. Even
Jim Cornette could just easily I don't listen to anything that comes out of that dick's mouth. So
the thing is, I don't like listening to it, but he's entertaining as well. He makes some valid points, but then the thing about Jim is that he will say something which is good, and then he will say something completely stupid. And you know,
so for me, I feel like people really need to understand what Riddle actually brings to the product. He brings something completely and utterly different to what you've got before. I feel like I don't care what he says off. I prefer it more if he carries on calling out shit wrestlers for trying to be wrestlers, like what he's been doing. And that's the thing.
I don't have a problem with Matt myself. I mean, I've said it before. He was one of the guys I wanted to see signed for a long time, because I knew of him before he got signed. And you know, he was one of the guys I want to see get signed, along with, you know, Ricochet, etc. So I have no problem with Matt on that regard. But the thing is that it's Matt himself who I think got a little too comfortable and just, you know, I don't know if it's because he behaved that way in the Indies. I don't remember him being that way on the Indies. But
I think it's very telling how Matt Riddle has been different since he's been on Raw. With all that stuff that happened with him, the speaking out, the allegations that happened against him, the tweets, the Instagram posts, everything that happened.
His wife.
Is with that as well, what's gone on. But I feel like the really telling point is since that's happened, that it looks like someone in WWE, Vince is very high on him. It looks like Vince
loves the guy, so.
And spoken to him and said to him, right, this is what we're going to have to do what we need to do to get you back on track where we need to go. And it seems like he's listened to that advice. He's definitely done the advice, because now he's the new United States champion. And not only that, he's now on the path of he's going to be it's going to be interesting how they do the title now with him, because he's a very, very good, and he's probably, in my opinion, my personal opinion, one of the best wrestlers on the roster in WWE, and he's one of the
I
best.
don't know if I'd say that. Great
Easily.
ground guy.
No one can do things
Great
what
ground
he
guy.
can do.
He's a great ground guy. No question. You know the stuff he can do and all that. But I don't know if I'd call him the best. You know, on the roster for that
He's
one.
one of the best, easly.
I remember they tried comparing him to Kurt Angle in the match. I was like, I wouldn't go that far. You know. What was I going to say? I can see him holding the title for a bit. I can see at some point Keith Lee's going to be US champ. So
I think there's very much going to be a Keith Lee Riddle rivalry, which they did very, very well on the Indies, especially in certain events where them two went 1-on-1, and loads of people said it's one of the best matches they've ever witnessed. And it would be very, that's what I've heard from people say, what they've seen the matches wise.
People are just previewing. I'm not saying it's a bad match. I'm saying it was the best match ever. I mean, it wasn't. You know, they did it the right way. I wouldn't say it was like, oh, it's something which I'd watch over again and again. You know.
Yeah, that's what some people. I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited to see what goes on with that. So I won that, which I'm very happy about, by the way. I think it should. So now we go on to a match now, which the next two matches we both predicted the same thing going on. So now the overall score was 12-13 to myself, to Gulam, but because I was the prediction king, because of the prehistoric tweets that I did before anything actually happened. If you want to get someone that knows what's going to happen as soon as the bell rings, go and follow us on Twitter, by the way, because it is top quality content.
So they call you Mark for a reason.
Exactly. I am the best. So we will go on to the women's tag team match. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag team titles.
I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, but I kind of tuned out on this one because I was just like, I wasn't really that interested in that one.
I was interested to see how they were going to do it, because for me, I feel like they should have made Sasha go absolutely apeshit and just destroy Bianca Belair to a point where it's like, okay, here we go. But okay,
I think for a second it was gonna be heel turn.
I was hoping, because the Sasha Banks character at the moment is someone that I'm trying to understand, and I get the point of she's the best women's wrestler at the moment. Get that, 100% agree with that. She could do nearly everything apart from teaching Snoop Dogg how to actually do a frog splash, but she could do majority of things in the ring that nobody can. But her character at the moment seems between a heel and a babyface. It's like she says certain things that you go, that's a bit of a dickish, and you go, oh, okay, yeah, she's actually quite nice. But hold on, what she's like? Oh, wait again, what? And it's just she's in between them both, and it's just what? Okay, so the ending of this, I don't care about the match. The match was a bit, like
I said, I tuned out for. I wasn't really that bothered. Actually, what I want to say though is I thought that they were going to have Reggie, good old Reginald, have a face palming Reginald. Yeah, I thought they were going to have Reginald, help Sasha turn heel because he looked like he was forming up a little bit well.
I don't get what's going on. Okay, so the finish made no sense to me whatsoever. Okay, so
yeah,
they were going to do a celebration, but he come out early because he wanted to make sure that he could celebrate with them when they won it. There and then. I get that. Understand that. But then throwing her the bottle and then her not doing anything with that bottle and then getting Samoan dropped into the pin, which, let's be fair, that's the cleanest victory I've seen on Sasha Banks in a very long time. And then Reginald just stood there and was like,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, McGurr. I didn't mean to do that to the fine wine. I watched it and I went, huh?
Even I'm not gonna lie, even I was a bit like, what the hell was that about?
Because we all know Reginald, we all know Sasha Banks' husband, we all know him, we all know that he designs all of the gears, and he doesn't design it and makes the gears for the people that design. Well, apart from Bianca's, who does herself. We all know about him. We all know about her. Blah 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 blah. And then it gets to the end, and you go, what?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I thought you were going to try and say for a second, her husband was going to come out and beat him. I'm like, have you seen her husband?
He'll just come out and try and beat him in Mortal Kombat on the up, down, down channel.
We're just standing there trying to... Oh, God, I'm not going to get into that one. So.
But
yeah.
To me, it just that one made no sense. And the way they also treat... But I want to say the positive coming out of this match. There is a positive, which is WWE have finally... Touch wood. I'm touching wood and whistling here. Finally... understanding that women's tag team can be making money. I think someone said that there's I think it was 7 matches this past week on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT have been women's tag team matches on it.
If you let me add, let me just add for a second. I did not see Nia and Shayna drawing the titles at all, because if they would not have done that if they were going to have them go on NXT this week. That's the way I saw it. And it's the right way to go.
That title match didn't really... I understand, but now, if you look at what's going on with the women's titles, you've got actual credible tag teams that could really go onto it. You've got SmackDown side, you've got Tamina and Natalia. We don't want to see much of them. And by the way, when I moaned about The Undertaker saying about the comments that wrestlers these days are soft, and then I went, no, they're not. And then I saw Natalia tweet about the Fox doing a funny a little thing, and then she went, no, this is really hurtful. I went, Undertaker, you're right. Fuck me.
That's my point. Is that that's what I'm trying to say?
Sorry, we're not getting into that. We're not getting into that. And then
can I just say, people do take shit way too seriously on the internet, and it really makes me laugh sometimes, because it's just like, one, he wasn't saying it about you, and two, did you even what? I don't want to get into a rant about either. Just don't take shit so seriously sometimes. Simple as.
I watched it and I went. But you got Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, you got Chauncey Blackheart and Ember Moon. You've got Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, and then on Raw you've got Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. You've got Billie Kay with
underrated as well.
Anyone. Who, by the way, Billie Kay is just the best thing that's happening in WWE.
She's awesome. Now. She needs a Billie Kay. This is awesome t-shirt.
Exactly. So I feel like the women's division and women's tag team division is massively growing, but there also seems to be a consequence that there was no challenger for Asuka's Raw women's title, because on Raw, Lacey Evans come out and said that she is pregnant. Congratulations, Lacey Evans. Yeah. When I first heard you say that, I really thought that they were going to do a storyline that Ric Flair could...
Please don't. Please don't.
And then she was going to give birth to a hand. So I was getting very, very worried that... And then it come out with reports that she informed Vince McMahon herself about 3 hours before Raw that she found out she was pregnant. So they've had to take her off.
I don't get it sometimes. I mean, I'm not having to go at Lacey for. I mean, can't really help what happens. No, I mean, it's just like it seems to me like every year or every 3 months somebody comes out as pregnant. Just like
it's COVID. You're bored. You're locked in. Might as well get something. Get jiggy with it.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure the pharmacies are closed as well, are they?
Probably lockdown. Lockdown closes everything down. So congratulations. But there was no match with Asuka, who she was apparently scheduled in to have a match, but it was going to be between either Charlotte or Rhea Ripley, who was going to face Asuka. It was also being discussed as well online that Asuka was going to drop the title to either one of them, and then either one of them were going to face each other at WrestleMania for the second part of this growing rivalry between Rhea and Charlotte for it. But they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Quick question and a quick answer. Okay, for you. Who's next for Asuka, and how do they redeem themselves from the poor booking they've done of the Raw? Raw in general, let's be honest, Raw in general has been very, very poor. But how are they also going to redeem the fact of the poor booking that they've done for Asuka since she's given the title after Money in the Bank?
Let me just say, I don't think when I think of Raw, I think Raw is basically mediocre, but mediocre and then above mediocre at best sometimes. Compared to obviously NXT and SmackDown. When it comes to Asuka, I remember saying to you before, I feel like her reign really just started taking a slump, if you can call that. The past few months when they made her, put her in the tag team division. So I think she was doing fine before that. To answer your question, who I'd give her next as her opponent, I want to say Rhea because I think Rhea's really the right person to go with at this point. But at the same time, I can definitely see Charlotte getting involved as well. So I'm going to say Rhea, but I'm going to say Charlotte's going to be there as well in some way, shape, or form.
I hope they do done it, or I hope they somehow find a way. Maybe this is more personal than it is what I think should happen. Find a way of building up Peyton Royce. I really like Peyton Royce. I feel
bad for Peyton actually because I feel like they gave her a great showing at Survivor Series and she took out Bayley and everyone was like, whoa, holy because she took out former women's champion and everything. I feel like they haven't really capitalized on her momentum since. If she even has any still left, if we're even arguing she still has any momentum to begin with, are we saying she has momentum?
I don't think she.
Okay, let's forget that part. Let's just say that they try and start capitalizing on it now. The way to do it, I'd say, would be like the same way they got Kofi onto it. Would be like put her through a gauntlet match or something like that. Yeah, not put her through it, but have her in a gauntlet match and do something like that.
She doesn't have to win it, but she could beat a few people in it to show her strength.
Kofi didn't win it.
She can do. Like they did with Nakamura as well.
I'm saying Kofi didn't win the gauntlet match either, so I'm not saying she has to win it either. I'm just saying that she has to show that she's worthy of being a champ.
Yeah, I completely agree. So we'll find out what happens, and we will discuss more about that next week, as we haven't got a pay-per-view. Thank God. For a few weeks, because I can actually sleep on a Sunday and a reasonable time.
Likewise.
So going on to the final match of the night, it was the Raw Elimination Chamber match. I was more excited for this one than I was the SmackDown one because there were so many different possibilities that could happen in this match, and certain things could happen and certain intricacies and all this and all that happen. That I feel like this was going to be a lot more interesting than the SmackDown one. So we had Drew, Sheamus, Jeff Hardy. I had it right here. Drew, Sheamus, Jeff Hardy, Drew, Sheamus, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, and Kofi Kingston.
Can I just add
for the WWE Championship?
Can I just add I'm probably gonna get hate for this as well, but if there was one guy I thought that was the odd one out in that, I think it was Jeff Hardy. I don't know why he was in that to begin with.
I think they tried to do a thing to bring all four. So if you're going to look at that, you're looking at you've got AJ Styles that is very technical, good at high flying. Randy Orton, very technical. Sheamus just wants to punch your face in. Kofi Kingston can do some Marvel things, but it's rather shock factor that you get with him because he pulls something out, you do it, and then you get Jeff Hardy that goes fuck it in a bucket. I'm going to do whatever I can to just go absolutely ape shit.
No, but I thought his was just pointless because you knew he wasn't going to be. They're not going to put him on him anyway, one way or another.
No, you knew that they were going to put it on anyone, and I found that more interesting.
If it would have been anyone that could balance that out, I would have put Braun in instead.
No,
I don't know where the hell Braun has been. He was at the Rumble. I haven't seen him since.
He was on Raw, wasn't he, or was he on SmackDown?
I think he was on Raw. I don't even know now because it's hard to keep up. I think that, but that's what I would have done. I would have put him in there, and just had him just running for everyone and just going crazy and shit, and just fucking. Yeah, like when he came back, you saw how he went on the rampage and was just running through shit and everything. I would have done that with him, just having him just fucking tearing up the entire Elimination Chamber as possible.
let's get into the match. The first, so in their first, was Randy and Jeff, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. It was
Yeah, it was. Randy and Jeff started the match.
Yeah.
And then Kofi come in, and then pinned. No. Kofi come in and then had a very good exchange. And then the first person eliminated was Randy Orton after
I was shocked by that.
I was very happily shocked. I was like, oh wow, okay.
It was like I don't know if that was to get give because they know their story etc. But I was like, whoa, how was it? I thought they were gonna have Randy at least RKOing the shit out of everyone before he even gets eliminated. But I'm okay with it, I guess. I mean, I haven't got a problem. The bit which I think
go on.
The bit which I think was really more interesting was when they had I'm gonna call it Omos or Jordan as I call it, was when they had him just come in and they had him tear off the
that shocked the shit out of me. I was like, what? Like, what? How is a human being able to rip, and let's be honest, the plexiglass that everyone talks about can protect you from a bullet, that they say every single time there's elimination chamber, just rip it off its hinges, and then go from there.
Big Jordan, as of late, by having him just doing monster shit, basically, just breaking everything. They're great. They are doing what they've done with Braun, but I think Jordan does it a bit better because he's a bit bigger than Braun, and you don't really expect him to do much besides that. But I reckon, like, I've seen some of his work he had done on NXT house shows, so I know that he can work to some extent for a big guy. So I'm excited. I'm wondering I'm anticipating to see how they're going to utilize him when he's an actual competitor. But the way they're building him up as of late, I think it's the right way.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people and a lot of reports saying that WWE at the moment are not thinking about putting him in the ring. They're more interested of keeping him as a manager to AJ.
But his presentation.
Yeah, that gives AJ the credibility to win at all costs, really. He's got someone there to help him. He's got someone there to do something for him as well. So,
but the way I see it, you saw it as well. He's still very young, so he's got plenty of time before he put him in the ring yet.
He is a Vince McMahon's dream. Young, big, strong.
I wouldn't even just say he's Vince's dream. He's every old school promoter's dream. If any guy from the 80s or the 70s, for Vern Gagne, who else? I'm trying to think of the old guys' names around the top of my head.
Tony Khan.
Tony Khan, he sure as hell will be using his daddy's money to get hold of him. Jeff Jarrett. TNA,
Can we just right? So I know this is a
Noki from New Japan.
I know this is
you would have been trying to sign him back in the day.
I know this is a little bit off topic. Just for a split second, we're just gonna go off topic for a split second, and then we'll come back. AEW just announced that at their next pay-per-view, Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega will be in a explosive barbed wire match for the AEW World Title. I watched clips of a match that had explosive barbed wire, and my instant reaction to it was, why the fuck is this even allowed in wrestling?
Here's my answer. When I first heard that they were going with this, I was like, did they hire Vince Russo now?
Did anyone just see JR called Kenny Omega WWE champion?
I heard about that, yeah, as well. I struggle to understand how that company is even going. I struggle to understand
I've watched it once, a whole show, and
I just don't want to get into it again. I'll watch it and I just zone out. I'll be on the phone a little bit. I'll watch
let's get back. So then then Omos rips the cell apart, which then AJ then runs around and gets an early entrant into it after Randy Orton RKO's everyone. So that happens. Sheamus comes in, and I don't know whether you thought this, but Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, I think, were legitimately, and this is no false, I think they were actually punching each other in the face.
They probably were. I mean, I could tell they looked a bit. I know that Sheamus is known for his hard-hitting style.
They look legitimate punching in the face. They look like a bare knuckle boxing fight.
it's possible. I'm not saying they don't. They want. I'm saying I know that Sheamus is known for being a bit of a hard hitter in real life because that's what him and Brian love to do. They like to be a bit stiff in the ring as they call it. Um, the way I see it, the best way to describe Sheamus and Drew is good friends, bare enemies, and I think they know that, and I think they know that people want to see them rip each other's heads off.
Yeah.
So they'll go for it. Yeah.
No, I'm all happy for it. I was just shocked by how stiff those punches were. I was like, Jesus.
I think it's more of a case of they trust one another to do it and they won't bitch about it later on.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much how it works with them.
So then we go through the match and then we go through it. Kofi goes out. Everyone's going out. Jeff was out. Final three was between Sheamus, AJ, and Drew. Phenomenal, a Claymore kick and then a phenomenal forearm to Sheamus gets Sheamus out. And then I think one of the best Claymores that has happened in WWE today, where
that was
AJ went up to go and do a phenomenal forearm, but Drew McIntyre comes running in and claymores his fucking nut off.
Mate, even I was like, wow, that was actually impressive.
I was like, shit.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean like, I didn't expect. I mean, when I saw it, I was just like, you have to. It's like when Randy, countered Evan Bourne's. The RKO
into the.
People will be like, oh, it's not that difficult as you think. It is. You have to get the timing right.
Timing has to be spot on.
And most important of all, you don't want to kill the motherfuckers.
No, but the timing has to be spot on because you want to make it look realistic. If you slightly miss that, it's going to look like you missed him. So you have to do the redo that they normally do, where they fling him off the ropes and then do it again. But it's one of those things where the timing had to be spot on. And then as soon as the final whistle, as soon as the 3 count happened, and then the chamber started moving up, I went, "There's going to be a cash in here." And I tweeted this, and you can go and check as well. I tweeted this. During the Elimination Chamber, I said, bookmark this tweet, Miz is going to cash in. Which, by the way, I should get another point for because I called it. But I'll let you off because now we're drawing, so I'll let you off. But I called it because if you saw, which I didn't think about until this morning, was MVP said that he was going to be responsible for Drew McIntyre losing the title. I think this was all the way back. Was it just after WrestleMania, I think?
Yeah, but it was after Mania. He had him on the MVP lounge.
Yeah. So he said he was going to be responsible. Then you get cut to the Miz out the back, holding his briefcase with MVP there. And then big old Bob Lashley comes out and absolutely annihilates Drew McIntyre.
Mate, I tweeted this as well. I was like, the way Lashley's taken out Drew McIntyre, you think he's on cashing in right now? And I think that would have been. I'd actually been surprised if you see Miz handing in the briefcase for Lashley cashing on. I would have been surprised if that happened.
So I saw someone tweet out saying that what if that conversation was MVP buying the briefcase from the Miz, and I went, why would the Miz sell that? Would it for any money? He would want a championship title or a title match if Lashley won it, and they were like, yeah, but what about if Bobby Lashley does? And then someone tweeted going, what about if Bobby Lashley does the work, destroys Drew McIntyre, he cashes in, and then the first thing the Miz does is goes, well, Bobby Lashley is now the number 1 contender. It's looking like, and this is from people on the internet, so we take it with a pinch of salt. It's looking like that Bobby Lashley is going to be gaining that title soon. It's also being said that if he doesn't gain it soon, then Drew will win it back at WrestleMania in front of a crowd. Because if you think... So I thought about this. I don't know why I thought about this morning. But I was thinking about Drew McIntyre's title reign. And to me, it's one of the best title reigns that WWE have done for a number of years. Let's be honest. We haven't had someone that's that believable and that good for a
In my
WWE
opinion, he'd be
title for that
super
kid.
over right now as a champion. I mean, maybe not now. I mean, some people might be a bit bored of it, because let's be honest, fans of today are just their attention. They've got the worst attention span, so it's hard to keep them, intact with a lot of things. But I think he'd be He'd be definitely over as a champion, and as a proper baby face.
I think, and then also if you think about his title reign as well, he hasn't defended or won that title in front of a crowd. His whole
Yeah, I know.
title reign has been crowdless, and it's like I feel very, very sorry for Drew McIntyre because I'm like, imagine
I
if he
know
was
as
in
well.
front of a crowd.
I know, man. Even I know that as well. But the thing is, though, I think we all knew that was going to be the case anyway when Drew was champ. I think it's just, it's the sad thing is that he hasn't held it in front of a. But the way I see it is that I've said this before. I'll say it again. But by the time he retires, he's going to be a multiple-time world champion
Yeah,
anyway. So
this isn't going
I
to
mean,
be his own title reign. He's going to have
he's
more.
going to have plenty of them before he's done. So I'm not even that worried about. I'm not even thinking about the crowd as much. I can
So
tell you right now, the next time he wins a championship, it will be when there's a crowd. So it's not a big
yeah,
deal. Yeah.
so Miz cashed in. He is now the new WWE champion. And he cut one of the best promos I have seen afterwards on the WWE
Mate.
network, which called everybody out.
Yeah.
He is very, very good. And this is going to be very, very hard to say because how much I despise him. But he is one of the best heels ever. To a point of
Something.
when he was a babyface, the only time he was a very good babyface was when he was against Shane McMahon, and he could
Yeah.
literally, and that was the only good time. Anytime he's been a heel, well, he's always been a heel, but anytime he gets that microphone, he's one of the best on the mic, easily, by far. And his
Top
English
guy at the moment, yeah.
is one of those that he's constantly there, never gets injured, always around, always there to do it. Like he said on Talking Smack, that famous promo he did on there against.
I was watching it, mate. At the time, I remember watching it. At the time, it was probably ring. I remember watching it. I was just like, "Oh my god!"
He literally went for it, and I was like, "Do you know what? The Miz is the perfect person for, especially with a run-in going into WrestleMania, like he is now, to get heat easily."
Let me just add. I mean, I have to be fair in this. If you asked me 10 years ago, do I like the Miz? My answer would have been hell no. I never liked him when he was a heel as a kid. I just could never get behind him. I thought he was annoying, to watch and just to hate, the MTV stuff and everything. Man, I just couldn't stand him because of that. And then when I found out he won the WWE title, I hated him even more. If you want me to be honest, I was like, is that the way they're going now? But obviously, when I look back on it now, it was, I mean, he grew on me with time. And when I look back on it now, it was fun to watch. And Angry Miz Girl and everything, that was number one.
I remember that. I remember watching that Raw. It was before I went to school. When we were at Wangel's, and I remember because I remember going in the next day and talking about it, and then going on about it for a week until it came out with it, and how angry I was, and how much he annoyed me, and how he would just always be there when you just didn't want him, and the way he talked and everything about it. But now I'm older, to a point where I appreciate it more because of how good he is. It's more of I respect him because of how good he is. I can't stand him because he fucking annoys me. I respect him.
I don't want to quote this guy again, but if you look at Jim Cornette's perspective, he calls him frog face. Yeah, and he says all kinds of shit like, I'll say I would pick Morrison over Miz because Morrison, stands out better as a star.
Mm-hmm.
The thing which Morrison lacked, which he's only gotten a bit better since he's come back, was his promo skills.
He had worked on that since he left WWE. Especially his work in Impact as well. When he was there, Morrison was very good on the mic.
If John Morrison never liked promo skills, he would have been a bigger star than he was 10 years ago. He would have probably been way ahead of the Miz. But that's the thing. If he didn't like that, he would have been fine.
Do you know what's really helped Morrison? Yeah. What's really helped Morrison as well is his wife is excellent. at promos and her in-ring ability. So it seems to be and he's also helped her with her wrestling as well. And she's amazing. So they sort of bounced off each other, and them two together have been excellent.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I agree with you on that. I feel like what was I going to say? Sorry, I just got distracted. So Pamela Anderson on my screen for a sec. You know, what was I going to say? What were we talking about again? Sorry.
What distracted you?
Pamela Anderson.
Oh,
yeah.
She was the original God's greatest creation before Mandy Rose.
Mate, they're both God's greatest creation. There's no debate.
Very, very true. So The Miz.
Fuck's sake. Yeah, well, yeah, the Miz. Right, yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah, I think Miz, he's the perfect example of a guy who grew on me with time. And I think he's basically that guy who, if you're a grown adult, teenager, teenager, you'll appreciate the Miz more because he's that guy who just, has a big mouth, but he can somewhat back it up. And, you'll basically, if you've seen him from day one, you'll see how he's come, how he's improved over the 10, even more than that, over the 50. I think he was there in 2004 as well, so 16 years.
He's been there a while now. I'll tell you what, I'm going to say it now before anyone else, most probably before anyone else. I don't know if anyone's saying it. Him, Dolph Ziggler are both going to be WWE Hall of Famers.
No doubt, no doubt. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'll say it again. The Miz, Morrison, Ziggler, those guys have not aged a bit. They're supposed to be pushing 40, in their 40s by now, and they still look the same as they did 20 years ago, compared to guys like Otis, Braun, and all these other younger guys. And it's just like, what I mean? It's just hard to believe that these guys are still, look able to keep themselves in the same way they did 20 years ago. Actually, I've got a question to ask you.
Go
on. Actually, it's about two different people. I'll say it as. Do you think Dolph Ziggler has ever been underutilized?
No.
I agree with that as well. I think he's been utilized to the best of his abilities. It's just Dolph always never quite. Dolph to me is basically the guy who can only get so far as a guy. Can only get so far as a star himself.
He's not a main eventer. He's a top tier. He's a top class mid tier.
I'd say he's a main eventer, but I don't think he's meant to be in the main event.
For me, a main eventer is a world champion material. He's not a world champion or a WWE material. He is an excellent intercontinental US or tag.
I'll say he's basically. I'll say he's mid card tier, between mid card and a main eventer. I think he can be in that.
Yeah, that's why I said top tier. He's in that bracket of he could be but he's not that. He's not that yet. He's in there. What was the other question?
I think because what I was going to say was I think a lot of people seem to question whether he's been ever utilized to the best of his abilities. And I think they have to some extent, but it's just he can never seem to live up to it as much. Which is what I said before. It's down to the guy himself. Now the other thing I want to say is because I saw this guy write on No DQ, he made an article about it. I was like, what the hell are you on about? And he basically said, have they missed an opportunity with Seth Rollins? And I'm just like, he's the first ever NXT champion.
I saw that.
Yeah, he was the first NXT champion. He had one of the biggest cash-ins at WrestleMania. He's been a WWE champion and the US champion at the same time. The IC champion, he's been one of the best IC champions in years and made that title worth something. Universal champion, etc. Gave Brock Lesnar one of the biggest, you know what I'm saying? He beat Brock Lesnar and everything. He's been treated as one of the top guys of the company. They've given him so many different characters to work with, and he's gone the extra mile with.
I think it's one of those articles where it's one of those things that I saw where it was look at John Moxley does something that everyone talks about, and then they have to instantly go, what about Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns? What about if they left WWE? If they could still, would they be a bigger star than what they are now?
They are. I'm trying to say is he already is one. Have they missed an opportunity with him? If he wasn't a star, no one would be talking about him.
No,
it doesn't make any sense.
But yeah,
look at Aleister Black. That's what you call a missed opportunity.
No, I don't
Buddy
agree.
Murphy, that's a missed opportunity.
No, I don't agree.
Korea, etc. There's so many guys that missed opportunities. Seth Rollins is the furthest thing from missed opportunity.
I think I thought about this the other day when people were saying, "Oh, I miss Alistair Black. Oh, I miss Andrade. Oh, I miss Buddy
That was probably
Murphy."
me
Blah
because
blah
I
blah
do miss
blah.
those guys.
No. There's a lot of people, and to me, I go no. They dug their own grave and they're in it. Selena Vega.
Sorry, hang on a sec.
Yeah,
Can you repeat that part again?
yeah. They don't deserve to be on the main roster
Why?
because Selena Vega dug their grave and they haven't been able to dug their way out of it.
The Zelina part, I agree. Zelina kind of fucked, Alistair Black for that one.
Tell me a match when Alistair Black has been on the main roster that you've turned around
AJ
and gone.
Styles. He had a great match with AJ Styles.
And you can't use AJ Styles because AJ Styles has a great match with a pillow.
Buddy Murphy.
That was all right.
Really? The match everyone was talking about, like when they were like, give us more of that, and you're saying that was all right. Okay. What about the thing is though, like they were giving him so many good matches.
They gave him so many. They gave them Buddy Murphy as well, and they gave Alistair Black, and they gave Andrade so many opportunities to really take with what they've got and run with it and go with it to a mile. Andrade never did it. Alistair Black couldn't do it on his own, and he can't do it. He can't do a promo at all. That's the one thing he can't do is a promo. And the other with Buddy Murphy, he's a very good, very, very good high-flying 205 live wrestler. He is not. He had a very good match with Roman Reigns, and the Seth Rollins end of feud was good, and it was very much okay. Yeah, okay, that's done now. So with everyone talking about all of them have been given it's not like they haven't been given opportunities. All three of them have been given opportunities to prove themselves that they can take whatever they've got to the next level. Okay, and none of them have done it. There's not one person that what I've seen that I feel like that they have made a mistake on from when they brought them up from NXT. Easily, none of them.
I'm going to disagree on that because I can tell you right now they could have done so much more with Alistair.
Give me two more names that you think that they could have done more, and I'll tell you why they didn't do it right. Why it's right what they did.
Angel Garza.
He's done fuck all. He's not doing very well, and he's not good enough that they feel like.
Really?
So what did he do in NXT for you to prove that he was the next thing? What did he do in the what has he done?
Matches for the NXT Championship.
What has he done on the main roster for you to go? Yeah, he deserves more opportunities. None. He hasn't done anything on the roster. I
think him and Andrade showed it perfectly when they were.
Okay, so think about this, right? And think about this and this is the way I think about it: is when you're not given opportunities and you're put in the back of the spotlight. Is like what Christian said when he was first on WWE, and then they split up from Edge, and then they all went off on their separate ways. He was doing just vignettes. He was doing things with backstage and wasn't getting any TV time whatsoever wrestling. So he turned around and said, well, okay, then I'm going to stand out from the crowd when I do the vignettes and stand out and show that I don't care who else is in the vignettes with me. You will go, okay, I want to. So the main story he was talking about was when they got Mark Henry to bend a frying pan, or when JBL and Ron Simmons used to pay him and go, I bet you can't bend this or break this or do stuff like that, what they did with Mark Henry. That was all what was Christian was in. And he said he stood out the back and he would look at what everyone else was doing, and they had to do number of takes on certain things. And he used to watch them all and then find a way of standing out. None of them have stood out with anything they've done, okay, to a certain point where on a consistent level to stand out. The issue that I don't get and I don't understand and I don't believe that Vince McMahon brings NXT talent up to then go, no, we don't want you anymore. Go back and release.
I don't think that either.
I don't agree with that. I think when they get up to the main roster and they get there, they realize that NXT is such a bubble that you're Now, hold on. Listen.
Yeah.
That they are in such a bubble where everyone does everything for you and you can do whatever you want up there. Then when you get to Raw and SmackDown, it's completely different and you have to adapt. And if you don't adapt well enough, you're not going to do it well. And that's what they don't do.
But that's what I've said as well before. That's the criticism I've had with NXT as well. Is that I feel NXT is too much of a comfort zone. And not basically the guys come. That's what why so many guys say they'd rather stay in NXT. I'm like, they need to get a bit of a taste of what it really is like.
I think also creative freedom is in NXT compared to a lot more on Raw and SmackDown.
Possibly as well.
Creative freedom as well on Raw and SmackDown looks like SmackDown looks like you do by the way that the promos and everything goes on. It looks like there is some creative. Raw, on the other hand, doesn't. It looks like if you're on Raw, you do exactly what they tell you and you do it. And the thing that with today, and I found this video, and it's got nothing to do with WWE, but it was at this NFL camp with Cam Newton, who is an NFL quarterback who's been one of the best quarterbacks, a Heisman Sportsman Trophy, one of the MVPs of the league as well. And this kid just disrespected him and didn't want to go there. He went there. This kid went there just to insult him and not to learn. And that's what I find with today, the younger talent now, is they expect everything, especially with people that come through NXT, to be given.
That's true.
Give them
That's
opportunities.
true. Tell me how many people online call him out for it though? Instead of calling him out for it, they take their side and say, yeah, it's right. How many people say that?
No one.
That's my point.
That's why I don't believe, and when I see reports saying that they don't know what to do with Aleister Black or Buddy Murphy or with them two, I agree. I don't know what you could do. Aleister Black's character is such a one-dimensional character.
They were gonna. No. They were gonna do something with Aleister Black. They just didn't go with it in the end because of the Zelina situation. If had the Zelina situation not happened, he would have been fine right now. I've said that before.
No, I don't believe he would.
You don't believe?
No, I think he would have fizzled out. I think his character is very good for what he did on NXT. He is that character, and what he can do is not WWE. And that's one of the things that I feel like NXT needs to do more.
And why do you think that?
What?
Why do you think his character is not made for WWE?
Because his character is not made for a wide-ranging audience. WWE is a wide. You have to hit people. We've got to wrap this up very soon because I've got to go and pick my daughter up. But WWE is very much you have to connect with someone who's 6 and connect to someone who's 76 or older, and you have to connect with all of them. Look at John Cena. Perfect model. He connected with people young. Older people hated him, but they still chanted his name. Aleister Black is a indie specialist. The indie guys hate him. If you turn around to a 8-year-old and go, would you like an Aleister Black t-shirt? I bet you 50 quid, none of them will say yes. If you go to someone who's 50 and you go, oh, what about Aleister Black? Bet you none of them will say yes. The same with Andrade. They haven't adapted their character enough. And I think this is the one thing that's wrong with NXT and WWE as well, is if you go into NXT and then you go to Raw or SmackDown or go back to NXT, it's completely different environments. You've got with NXT, you have to connect to let's say the indie darlings and the indie specialists. What they should be doing is having the same format in Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, where it connects with all of them. And I think if they had that, then Andrade wouldn't be on the sidelines. He would be out again. Aleister Black might be out, and Buddy Murphy is someone that is very difficult to get behind and to do it. It's just he's missing that thing. And there's a lot of, like, Mustafa Ali keeps tweeting out saying, give more people, give the youngsters a chance. Why don't you, when you get in that ring, Ali, who I feel like is a very good wrestler, take your opportunity? I can't remember the last match I remember you having that was sensational was at WrestleMania against Cedric Alexander. What you've done since then is the redemption. The thing is,
you can't really blame that. The retribution thing has gone, pretty much hasn't exactly been easy for everyone. I mean, going to do so much. I mean, like, they could have done so much. Retribution could have easily been one of their best stables in a long time, and they managed to shit the bed on that one.
The issue with that group was you have, my opinion, one of the best big men wrestlers in there in
Dijak.
Yeah, easily. Slapjack, who's a very good at
Shane Thorne,
who is amazing at, if you've got a new superstar coming in, to sell their moves. Very, very good at doing that. Mace, I haven't really seen much.
Brendan Williams, I know a bit about him. He was a hell of an entertainer.
He did a lot of up, down, if I'm right. He's done a bit for that on there as well. Mia Yim, we all know who is excellent anyway. We all know Mia Yim and how good she is as well. So, and with Ali as well, it's just they're not taking their opportunities, and this is the one thing that
if it was me, let me just say, if I was the one who was handling that booking, I would have kept them as their normal name. I wouldn't have given them the names or the masks. I would just let them go out there, keep their names, and just showing them just a bit of what they can do.
Oh yeah,
bring a bit of what they do on NXT.
The whole presentation of them is wrong. The whole presentation of them.
Yeah, it is wrong. I mean, but at the same time, I give them credit where it's due. They still are working with the best of what they can, and they still try to, go.
That's the thing.
They haven't quit with it.
This is the thing so that sentiment there is not what Aleister Black or Andrade or anything did. You were spot on what you just said, and think about what you just said.
That's fine. If you say it that way, then I understand.
What's the situation they're in? They take it no matter what. Look at The Rock. When he first joined WWE, he had that.
Okay, yeah, I get where you're coming from now.
And they had that crap situation that they got put in, and they took it. The same with Aleister Black. You're gonna be Bobby Roode has taken him 4 years, 3-4 years maybe to try and get back to where he was before.
Now. I get where you're coming from now. That part I can see from as well, but I just feel maybe it's just because there's a fan in me that wants to see him succeed. But
look,
I suppose you're right to some extent. Yes.
With me. Look, I'm watching at the moment Progress Wrestling, and I'm watching ICW, and I'm trying to learn a lot more about outside of WWE. Well, it's not outside of it because they part anyway. Outside indie British wrestling, okay. And for me, if you watch them, they are given a very generic character, and they have to make it their own. And that's what I'm trying to say. With Aleister Black's character he could go. And he could easily, the way that he could do things, could make his character really dark and really angry, or do something with that could make him stand out. But let's be honest, the Vega situation, whether we agree with the Vega situation or not, we're not here to talk about Selena Vega. That situation has not helped him, nor has it helped Andrade. The only way Andrade will get back into it a little bit more is because of Charlotte Flair. And he will start getting back into things because of her very soon, and I think it will start happening. But
I'm hoping soon because it just feels like a lifetime since we last saw him on TV.
Yeah, and he went out injured. I think he was out injured for a while.
He was out injured for a bit. Yeah.
So for me, I think you have to really look at what they've done since they've been on there. And that's the one thing that I understand what people are saying. I get it. That Aleister Black was excellent in NXT. So was Andrade. So was this, and this. I get it. I'm not saying I don't agree with it. But they are not doing what they're meant to be doing. And when you go onto Raw or SmackDown, before you get there, you've got Vince McMahon in your ear, or you've got multiple people telling you something.
I agree.
No. I know you do. I'm just telling everyone. This is what I'm saying to everyone. And that's the one thing I struggle with people when they say, oh, he didn't get they got the opportunities. There hasn't been one person that's come through NXT that has gone on to Raw or SmackDown that people who say, no, this person has they all have been given look at Keith Lee, right? He's been given a massive opportunity, and people still say he hasn't. He has been given lots of opportunities. I disagree with that 100%
because I've seen Keith Lee could have easily just been brought in and done nothing with from the get go. He's been
no. I know. I agree with you. I feel like they've done a lot.
If Keith Lee is what you call nothing, then I'll tell you right now, some of you guys will still be treated like that then because fucking hell, mate. They brought him in and put him in the ring with Randy Orton for a start.
But this has been playing on my mind for a while, and I wanted to just
let me just add. This actually reminds me of what Cesaro said not long ago as well. That people were asking him why is it taking them so long to make him into a main event guy, and he basically said, when he looks at his guys that he looked up to as a kid growing up, Bret Hart, Edge, etc., it took them 10 years, even longer, before they finally, got the company to get behind them, to trust them. So they simply put it, it's a case of, I guess, in some cases you have to just, wait your time and just keep in their good books and just keep working, keep showing them that you're that guy.
If we think about Vince McMahon in whole, if you are loyal to him, he will do anything for you. If you're not loyal to him, he will fuck you off. Okay.
I know.
So that this is when people say, "Oh, they need to leave and go." No, go to Vince McMahon every single opportunity you get, and Edge says this all the time. Make a relationship with him. Find out what he wants from you, what he wants to see from you, and then build a character or build something what he would like, and then put your spin on it as well at the same time, but still keep the essence of what Vince wants. And if Vince sees that you're willing and your adaptability and the way you do things, and you're also willing to just be a jobber sometimes, he will look at Nakamura. He did it. The same with Cesaro is the perfect example with how many different, he said about 55 million characters. It's the same with Big Show.
Yeah.
He's been a heel and face like once a month. He can change his face or heel every
2
month.
seconds, mate.
So, but look how loyal he was to Big Show. So that's the one thing I think fans need to realize is, yeah, he might do well with Tony Khan because
the thing is,
he might do well at Impact, but you're not getting the audience and you're not adapting yourselves to it.
Should I tell you what it is as well? It's because people online believe everything they get told from someone. You know, because the minute somebody like Triple H, for example, he's always making it out like, "Oh, Vince is the hard guy to impress," and this and that is other bullshit. And as soon as he says that, internet fans go off and want to be like, "Oh, Vince is the problem and everything." No, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't help when people start spreading shit online. You know, that's what it comes down to a lot of times.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think that was good. I've been wanting to rant about that for a while.
No, that's fair. I mean,
I'm happy. I'm happy we had a conversation on that because it clears things up that I feel like. I also listen to your point, and I agree with your point as well.
I just feel like, I just think that some guys aren't. I still think there are guys that need their opportunities as well, but I suppose at the same time, there are guys that just prove they aren't worth the time, and some guys get given it and still do fuck all with it. And if you want to talk about Ryback and then go off a ranting about it throughout the rest of their life.
No,
I don't want to bring this guy in, but I like Mike Bennett, but he's pretty much ranting every opportunity he gets given to complain about them as well. And they gave Mike a big chance. I think they could personally, I think he should have been on NXT, but for whatever reason, they kept him on, the main roster. Then he went on to 205, and then after that, nothing. So I felt bad for him, but at the same time, you shouldn't really be complaining about it.
If you get opportunities in WWE, you have to seize them with everything you've got. You look at Roman Reigns. He was he was the top dog, and yes, he was very much given everything, but he took everything. Anything that he was given his way, he took it. He also took the time where he was jobbering for a time as well, where he was losing and wasn't in the main event picture for like a year. So you've got to take it with both hands as well.
I don't see how Roman was handed everything, to be honest.
To start off with, but then you sort of realised why he was.
He's not the first guy to get it, though. There's so many guys before.
No. It was one of those things where, for me, I was like, why is he getting... and then after a while, I got, okay, he's actually pretty good. He's actually not bad. No, fair enough.
I've never thought he wasn't good. I've always thought he was a decent worker and everything.
I'm very much up and down with a lot of people.
Should I tell you what it is? No, let me tell you what it is. As soon as everybody's favourite guy, trashes someone or just even says something which is a little bit, of an insult to someone, the entire fucking internet wrestling fan base...
Oh, that CM Punk thing, I never knew for ages because I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a big. I didn't know CM Punk left.
But the thing is, Punk wasn't even trying.
Time. I was like, oh, he's injured again. Where's he gone? And then everyone started chatting CM Punk, and then I actually Googled it once and realized, oh fuck, he left. Oh, not very.
But the thing is that Punk wasn't even trying to put down Roman as well. People just made a big deal about his comments. That's what it is. And took it too seriously. I get into this argument numerous times online. They're like, no, I'm just like, he didn't mean it that way.
I agree with you. So yeah,
that's just a comment.
We could carry on ranting, I think, for a little bit longer. Yeah. But thank you guys ever so much for joining. Thank you guys ever much for joining. Next week, we will be reviewing Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and any other news that happens in between that as well of what's going on in the world of wrestling. Thank you guys ever so much for joining us for Elimination Chamber. Thank you guys ever so much for all the support you have done for us on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. You guys have been absolutely amazing. We know that this is not the most popular one, but me and Gulam love wrestling and we love discussing it. So we're just going to carry on doing it. And we're going to carry on doing this forever until a point of when Gulam just goes, Mark, you're the best that's ever happened. You are the greatest person that's ever lived. And you are the most beautiful looking man in existence. So one day that will happen. But we will see you guys very soon. And then we will see you guys next week. All love, all care. Bye.